Hello, Bobby Torres of Frightbox recording here, and in this video, I'm going to share with you how I add instantaneous clarity to all of my mixes using a tool that I know for a fact that you own right now. Let's dive into it. Oh man, it's been crazy. I've been working with a very talented studio designer and he's helping me design my brand new studio. It's been busy up in here and much more on this topic in an upcoming video. But in this video, I'm going to reveal to you how I add, again, instantaneous clarity to any mix using one dead simple tool. And I'm going to showcase in this video exactly how I do this. All right, so I have a mix going on right now, right here in my DAW. And let's take a listen to what it sounds like right now. Okay, absolutely horrible. It sounds like a home recording. It is not clear at all. It's blown out. It just sounds like crap. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play the mix back again, and I'm gonna engage this magical tool while the mix is playing back, and I want you to hear how much of a difference it makes. As you can hear, the mix is much more professional. You can hear where the instruments sit within the stereo field. And I have good news for you. You already own this tool. What this tool is a simple high-pass filter. What I was doing was bypassing all of the high-pass filters in my mix and then re-engaging the high-pass filters in my mix so you could hear the difference. Now, if you're a little experienced, you might be thinking, okay, well, this is really straightforward. But here's the thing. I've realized through years of running this YouTube channel, when people send me their mixes to check out, is that people still are afraid of high-passing specific instruments in their mixes aggressively enough. People think that it's going to cause phase issues and that they're going to hurt their individual tracks. Here's the thing, you have to high pass your instruments if you want your mix to sound clear, especially in modern metal production where you have so many layers going on at once. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to focus on the three main areas where people seem to really go wrong as far as high pass filtering is concerned, and I have a little bit of a surprise for you at the end of the video. So the first area where people really screw up with high pass filtering is on overheads and cymbal mics. In a dense metal mix, very rarely will you get a great snare sound or tom sound or kick drum sound out of your overhead mics. For me, my overhead mics are pretty much cymbal microphones. I like to mic my kits nice and close. And again, I hear weird, gongy, strange, kind of like unfocused cymbal sounds in a lot of the mixes that people send me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna solo my overhead tracks, overhead left, overhead right. I'm gonna bypass the high pass filter and let's hear what my overheads sound like raw. Pretty cool, right? So what a lot of beginners will do is they'll kind of use the low end that's in the actual overheads. But then when you start adding your kick drum and your toms and your snare drum and your room mics, you end up with an overabundance of low end that's just gonna screw up your mix. So if we look at my overhead tracks here, they're high passed at 800 hertz. Let's check it out. Now, even though the cymbals sound really thin on their own, you have to remember we're blending this in with the rest of the drum set, the rest of the mix as a whole, the room mics. So I want the cymbals to be thin because they need to fit with everything else. So don't be afraid of high passing your cymbal mics. Usually for me, it's around 500 hertz, 600 hertz, even up to 1K sometimes. Really depends on the mood I'm in, but the idea is to not be afraid of high passing your overheads aggressive enough. Okay, up next we have our bass guitar. I'm going to solo the bass guitar here, and I'm going to bypass the high pass filters that I have on both of my bass tracks. Now let's hear what we're left with. As they're doing construction outside of my house. But anyway, that was the raw bass tone. If we high pass the bass, let's take a listen. notice the bass is a little more focused and there's a little bit less mud going on in the deep subs. So on my main bass sound, I'm rolling off all frequencies below 70 hertz so that the kick can shine through at around 50 hertz. And then the mid-range of the bass distortion, I'm high passing everything below 700 hertz. So if we hear the distortion on its own, it sounds funny, but when you blend in the rest of the bass tone, it works well. And then when you blend the bass as a whole after it's high pass in with the rest of the mix, it sounds like this. It fits in with the rest of the mix like a glove. Moral of the story, don't be afraid of high passing your bass. Even though bass is a low end instrument, it has to work with your kick drum and your floor tom and any other low end instrument within your production. Okay, the next one is another big one, and it's one I hear a lot, and that's not high passing your guitar overdubs enough. Remember, in metal, we have super thick rhythm guitars, pounding drums, pounding bass, sometimes some synth layers as well thrown in. Your guitar leads can't be super fat. I hear this a lot where people will send me these crazy like guitar shredding orchestrations that the guitars just sound weirdly thick and they conflict with the rhythm guitars when they really don't need that much low-end information. So let's dig out the guitar overdub in this production, and I'm gonna bypass my high-pass filter. Let's hear it. So you hear a lot of low end on the pick attack, and that's not really a good thing, especially when you're combining it with the rhythm guitars. So what I have here is a high pass filter, and I'm rolling off all frequencies below 250 hertz. Let's hear it. So to the untrained ear, they'll think that the guitar tone sounds really thin and really muddy, but when you combine it with the rhythm guitars, so with the rhythm guitars, and more importantly, in the context of the rest of the mix, the lead guitars fit in perfectly and it all fits together like a nice, well-orchestrated puzzle. Now, if you're curious to know the high pass filter settings that I regularly go to throughout the rest of a mix like this, you could check out my training, 4 dead simple ways to massively improve your recordings and mixes. In this training, I share with you how I create instantaneous clarity within my mixes by sharing with you every single one of my high pass filter settings within the mix that you're hearing actually in this video. You'll also learn my #1 technique for prepping heavy guitar tracks that virtually mix themselves. You get to see how I take control over the levels within my mixes so instruments stop stepping all over each other. And then finally, how to craft radio-ready vocal mixes using only stock plugins. Now, a word of warning, if you're one of these people that's on TikTok all day and you have the attention span of a squirrel, do not bother. The training is really in depth. It's almost an hour long, and it's meant for people who are serious and ready to take action to produce pro-level results with their productions. Pro results don't come from gear. It comes from pro techniques and workflows. And what I've learned from doing this for a while is that most people don't want to put in the work. Now, if you are one of those rare individuals that is willing to put in the work, watch the training. I think you're going to find it very, very insightful and helpful. Okay, it's been a minute since I've uploaded on this channel. I have missed you guys, and I've got a ton of interesting and very fresh, new, and exciting content on the way, including my brand new studio build that I'm currently in the middle of working on. If you found this video helpful, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And do not forget to click the little bell icon so you can be notified every single time I upload my weekly videos on all things metal and rock production. Until next time, drink that Spindrift.